All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rechakbudash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth, in sincerity and wholeheartedly, Shalom unto the Akwath, which is the women believer, Shalom unto you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I mean, this is why it's called Babylon the Great, the city of confusion. Because that's what Babylon mean in the Hebrew. Babal means confusion. And it's called Babylon the Great, great confusion. See, the reason that you're seeing propaganda, which that's what they always use the news for, propaganda. And the thing is that they use unrighteous decrees. And I always say this, like, at the end of the day, a law is just a piece of paper and they can break it whenever they want because they write the rules. But to make them feel better about themselves and to make the people be accepting, they make it into a law. So I want to start off with this real quick. So it says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people. You see it say my people, right? That widows may be their prey and they may rob the fatherless. So everything that they do is always to attack us first. Obviously, it's always casualties. It affects everybody, but it don't affect people as much as it affect us, because that's what everything is to do. This is our number one enemy in power. But this is why this is, Babylon the Great. It said how the U.S. government made it legal to release fake news, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. So let's listen up.
In 2013, it was legalized in the United States to propagandize its citizens. What? Like, that's some scary third world stuff going on. That's the kind of stuff that people use to topple governments, to take away freedom.
The State Department and intelligence agencies engage in theater, and it's what they do, it's spycraft, to create spectacles and events that people may not realize are spectacles and events, but that, like the overthrow of Mossadegh in the 50s in Iran. They'll funnel money to protesters. They'll, fly people in to infiltrate protesters. They'll create fake newspapers.
So this is everything that you see on the news today, because the prophet's been telling you that agent provocateurs, sometimes you'll be seeing shootings and then it's like, this shooting don't even make sense. They hardly ever show, the shooting. And then if they do, most of the time they don't have a face on the shooter, even though they say they capture him, or the person always commits suicide. So it's just always just a whole bunch of confusion. But here's the thing. They use it to play on your emotions. You can't attach to anything. You have 50 different things going on at the same time. So you don't know what to attach on. You on one thing one week, and then a couple of days later you on something else, and you just, it really demoralize you. Now, that's why us, who the Lord have blessed, we keep our eyes single. We just, whatever is prophecy, that's what we stick to, because it's so much going on. But this is what they do. Even like with the ICE agent videos. Yes, most of that stuff is true, and some of it is just propaganda, because everything is to get a reaction out of the people. Let me get this real quick. Because this place is just nothing but enchantments and wickedness, man. So it said, upon her forehead was named Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, because this is how they do their enchantments. All right. This is their form of sorcery. This is their form of prophecy on the left hand side. Because that's what sorcery is. Fortune telling. All right. That's why they show you what they're going to do in their movies and TV shows and things like that. Because that's their form a prophecy. Like we are the prophets on the right hand side. They have prophets on the left hand side. They called it the Chaldeans in the scriptures. Okay. And it said, the mother of all harlots and abominations of the earth. This is the reason why this place is going to be totally destroyed. But now, the first woman said, basically these things which cause, governments to be taken over. And that is what's going to eventually happen, because the scripture talks about it. I'm going to read through it because the video ain't that long and I don't want to make the video that long. So it said, woe unto the world of them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hand, for there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So all of these things is going to lead to this. And it's actually getting close to leading to this, because people are finally waking up, but sadly, it takes a tyrant like Donald Trump to get people to basically give him the side eye and second guess the government. But this man, he is very tyrannical, as the scripture says in Isaiah 19:4, a cruel Lord shall I give into the hands, all right, of the Egyptians, man. Because this place is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. But, as we continue to get farther along in the Lord's movie, these things are going to come to a head. So it says, a man should desire to go into a city, should not be able. That's martial law. And it's going to be, why martial law going to happen? Because of the sedition. We're coming into a time where people are going to stop listening to the news. People are going to stop trusting in the government, and they're going to take matters into their own hands. But at the same time, all hell will be breaking loose. It's going to be famines, lack of bread, all of that. Let's continue to read. For because of their pride, cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Why? A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So ain't nobody. The scripture says the love of many shall wax cold, because iniquity is going to abound. This land is already lawless. It don't follow the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord. But imagine how wicked it's going to be in the time to come, where it's no police in place. It's basically going to be a purge out here. This is the reason why they made the Purge movies. But shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Why? Because of the lack of bread and great tribulation.
And so on. So we know that this happens in countries around the world. I believe that a law has been passed in the United States. I think it's part of the Defense Authorization Act. I need to confirm this. That, now makes it legal to propagandize American citizens. I say them, but we've entered an era in which it is not crazy.
Damn, Satan. It's loud as hell outside, out of the damn blue. So Salakia, if y'all hear that.
To assess news events to see if they're real or not real. And in the United States as well as overseas. And in fact, it's kind of crazy not to.
Yes, you heard that right. Almost a decade ago, propaganda was legalized in the United States with the passage of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which you've probably never heard of. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was buried in the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act for a good reason, because it repeats.
You realize that all of this stuff was under Barack Obama's nose. They used Barack Obama. So I came into the truth on Obama's second term. All right. So around 2012, 2013. And I realized that they was using Barack Obama because, remember, most people don't understand that he's a Hamite. He's not our people, but he looked like us. So people think and most of our people, matter of fact, all our people outside of people that's not in this truth, believe that he's an African American. Okay. Even though he's from Africa, talk about his dad. But the point is that they look at Barack Obama as a so-called black man. So anyways, they used this man to bring in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Remember, through him, the legalize of gay marriage came. A lot of those FEMA camps, railroad systems was built. So you have literal railroad systems that lead to FEMA camps. Okay. it's a bill. Can't remember the bill's name. I mean, it's so much stuff over the years, but it was a bill that passed for that. Um, and now you got this, and it's a whole bunch of other things that was legalized in these documents under Barack Obama. So basically, they use the so-called black man as a scapegoat, you know. But anyways, for our people who think that Barack Obama was a great president, and you know, remember we had that song with Young Jeezy, I think, made, "My president is black, my Lambo's blue," that song. So anyways, you know, our people was happy. That was the first time I ever voted back in 2008. Didn't know no damn better, thinking that he was a so-called black man. You know, I literally only voted him because he was a so-called black man. All right, just like everybody else. So the point is that, but he really turned America to the worst it can get. And then, you know, Donald Trump, the first term, 2016, you know, he showed his horns. That's why I was shocked that our people even voted for him again, you know, because he showed he was racist, you know. And then Joe Biden, you know, oh my goodness, under him, you know, that's the pandemic and everything else. And then now look at Trump again, you know, which we through the spirit believe he is the last president that's going to usher in everything. But yeah, so, but I just had to mention that, like, a lot of these things was written, these unrighteous decrees happened under Barack Obama's administration.
The 1948 Smith-Mundt Act, which authorized the State Department and the mainstream media to engage in propagandizing.
So you see how this all the way back, this act is all the way back in 1948. That's why in the scripture, Isaiah 10:1, prescribe, pre means before. So it's already written before, but they always wait for the right action to bring it forth.
Foreign countries, but it prohibited releasing that same propaganda in America for public consumption. This prohibition was lifted when the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was signed into law by Obama.
Very simply, Obama gave it a reboot in 2012.
Previous caller mentioned something very important that you guys completely brushed over, and that's something that was slipped into the 2012 NDAA. It was the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act. And what this has done is opened the floodgates for the media to basically lie to us if it's in the best interest of the government.
And the government, the news, been lying to you. All right. So a medium is just a communicator. So medium go together. And that's how they reach the masses of people. That's why when it comes to celebrities, they ain't about to allow a person who have millions of followers not to be compromised. That's why they're lesser luminaries. So they have to push the agendas of the elite. But the point is that that's what they do. They use news to work on the emotions of the people. That's what propaganda is. It's training the way for you to think. Training you to react to certain things. Okay? So that's what the media have done. That's why my favorite documentary of all time is 13th. That's a bad documentary, man. Because it goes into, you know, the plight of our people, but how they basically use the news to work on the minds of the people, to view us a certain way, you know? And then, of course, you know, they go into all the, you know, the atrocities that we've been through. You know, but the point is that this is what they do. In Psalm 64, it said they wet their tongue like a sword. And when you go into the word wet, the definition is inculcate, which means to impress upon the mind, with repetition. So when you hear thugs and savages and I forgot, it was one term that they used. I was cracking up. I was like, these damn Edomites. But the Lord said we'll be a proverb and a byword wherever we are scattered, which just proves the scriptures to be true. But yeah, let me get this real quick, because that's all of this is going to lead to, it's going to come to a head. Matter of fact, I want to get straight to the point. So it said, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the fountains of the spring shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. That's going into the drought, and also going into the drought of this word, because remember, the word is symbolized as the fountains of living water. So all this stuff is going to lead, this propaganda is going to lead to a sedition. people are going to get tired. It's going to actually be real protest out here, not people that's paid to protest. And you still have people who actually really protest too. Like even where I preach at downtown on Sunday, they be out there protesting, but and me and the brothers be laughing like, dude, there's nobody there. It's Sunday. Won't you, if you really want to do some action, do it on Monday, you know? But they down there protesting, which shows you how much in control the people are, because they like, shit, we can't miss work. They protesting against their job, or and sometimes protesting against government, but they all do it on Sunday, you know. But yeah, it's going to get real to people going to really start protesting, and then it's going to get violent. And like I said, and we just read, and the point is that all hell's going to be breaking loose at this time. It's going to be a purge out here. So it's at the time your friends fight one against another like enemies. Okay. So
what we're witnessing here is the deep state combined with media, and they have a free pass. We're a lot of questionable things happening in this country. We got mass shootings. I'm sorry to say, these things are questionable, and under this law.
And that is true. Like I said, you've seen a lot of mass shootings that look questionable. Remember that one in Las Vegas? I think it was in like 2020. Yeah, I think it was like 2020, 2021. It was like it was a shooting in Las Vegas. Like 50 people were supposed to die. It just looked real corny. It looked like a fucking behind the scenes scene of a movie. But anyways, and then remember those behind the scenes? Like basically it was like whistleblowers. So they'll show like videos of people who died of so-called COVID, and then and had people in body bags, but then you would see a person in a body bag moving. You would even see a person that's laying down on the ground. Their eyelids would be moving. Like I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. This is Babylon the Great, man. Babylon the Great.
The rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act, in reality, the government could be working with media to deceive us.
It ain't no, they could be, they are. That's what it's about. That's what the media is all about.
It's legal. Talk about the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act.
I think that sounds to be like a...
In 2013.
So I'm going to end it on this. The city of confusion is broken down. That's Babylon the Great, baby. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. Martial law. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. So this is when all hell break loose. This in the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. So at this time, as the scriptures call it, Jacob's trouble, and we've been calling it Jacob's trouble is the world's trouble. So this is why it's called Babylon the Great. This is the reason why I made the video, just let you know that this is Babylon the Great. This is the reason why you see 50 things a week that you can't even be you only can be emotional for 2 days. Then guess what? It's on to the next thing. So they got your mind over here, over there, everywhere. But it's going to come to a head where people are going to start to revolt. That's the sedition. That's what it means. The overthrowing of a government by speech. All right. A revolution. So, hey, man, time is short. Seek ye out the Lord while he may be found. And shalom.